What's going on, y'all? It's the gosh darn freaking Heir to the anime. Yeah, every freaking Christmas, y'all. It's Christmas here. I don't know if it's Christmas there, but you know what? I just want you to know. Look. You see that? You see that? Disappointments. All of you. Just want you to know. This was called The Complete History of Super Sentai 1975 to 2024. So listen, I want to do some little Christmas something right now. I want to do something that would be kind of dope for Christmas, right? So I was like, I'm going to check this video out because definitely piqued my interest. On top of that, it's an hour long. And we're going to watch the entire thing. So sit back, grab your snacks, grab some water because you're going to need it after all this craziness. And let's hop in this bad boy. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
For over 50 years, Super Sentai has established its reputation as one of the largest, most creative, and successful superhero franchises in the world.
Yeah.
Throughout multiple eras, Super Sentai has evolved with many different styles, themes, and stories, and today I'm going to be featuring every single one of these historic milestones.
Woo! I'm surprised I could do this only in an hour.
This video features every season of Super Sentai, as well as all of the important films, crossovers, and even Western adaptations. So
yeah, Power Rangers!
Relax. This is the complete history of Super Sentai. In 1975, Super Sentai would debut, although the series wouldn't be known by that name just yet. Kicking off the series was Himitsu Sentai Go Ranger, translated as Secret Squad 5 Ranger. Created by Shotaro Ishinomori, who also created Kamen Rider, and inspired by the legendary 1972 anime Kagaku Ninja Tai Gatchaman.
Did not know that.
This series ran for a massive 84 episodes from 1975 to 1977.
Damn, 80. Okay. That's a lot for like early on.
In Go Ranger, a
almost
planetary
100
defense organization known as Eagle, or the Earth Guard League, stands against the evil Black Cross Army. After the Black Cross Army destroys many Eagle bases throughout Japan, only 5 members of Eagle remain, and they join together to become Go Ranger. In their battle against the Black Cross Army, the Go Rangers would utilize a variety of different weapons and tools to give themselves the upper hand in battle, and they removed their helmets' visors to produce their individual weapons. They also had motorcycles and an aircraft named Variblun, a precursor to the mecha that would be featured in later seasons. With a likable cast, colorful suits, and cool pieces of equipment, Go Ranger set the standard for what would become one of the most legendary superhero franchises in the entire world.
Hell yeah.
1977 introduced the world to Jaka, Dengeki Tai, a sequel to Go Ranger that was also created by Shotaro Ishinomori.
I didn't know it was a
featuring
sequel.
A playing card motif represented by the J, A, K, and Q on their respective helmets, which
Right.
of course stands for Jack, Ace, King, and Queen.
Gotcha.
The series would begin with only 4 members present on the team as they take on criminal organization crime before being led by Big One, the first ever White Ranger later in the series.
Oh! I didn't really he's considered a White Ranger. I actually wasn't sure because of the rainbow.
Jaka was canceled early, and the episode count finished at only 35 episodes, making
Really?
it the shortest season of any official Sentai. Despite the early cancellation of the series, Jaka introduced many tropes and signature aspects of Super Sentai that would go on to be what this iconic franchise would be known for. This was the first series within the franchise to feature transformation devices for the Rangers to Henshin. This was the first series to feature a White Ranger, as I said.
Because
This was the first series to feature a skirt for a female ranger. This is one of only 4 teams to not have the word Sentai in their name, and the first Sentai to air in the Philippines, with the name Lucky Aces.
Interesting. They're in the Philippines. That's pretty cool.
1979 was the year of Battle Fever J, a team of international heroes representing various countries and the first season to be known officially as Super Sentai. After Toei worked with Marvel Comics on the Spider-Man Toku series, Battle Fever J would also be produced by Marvel and even featured characters from Marvel such as Miss America.
That's dope. I knew there was crossover between Marvel because I'm pretty sure Stan
Each
Lee.
ranger on this team is named after various countries throughout the world, and Battle Fever J would help to solidify the Super Sentai formula.
Stan Lee tried to get
with Battle Fever Robo, their
the rights to
giant
Power
mecha,
Rangers,
and the first giant robo in Sentai history. Although Battle Fever J wasn't referred to as Super Sentai while on the air, it would later be recognized as the first season of Sentai, and then later on as the third season of Sentai. The origins of the Super Sentai name were pretty messy. Battle Fever J was the first Sentai series to feature a Black Ranger and Orange Ranger. This was also the first series that featured mouths sculpted onto the heroes' helmets. After a successful third entry into the series, Super Sentai would return again in 1980 with Denshi Sentai Denjiman. This series featured a team of heroes that descended from the people of Denji Star as they battled against the evil Vader clan.
Okay, that's definitely what's-her-face in Power Rangers. That's gotta be who's based off
was
of.
Queen Hedrian, played by one of the most iconic Toku actresses of all time in Machiko Soga, who we'll definitely be talking about more throughout this video. Denjiman was the first Sentai to have a transforming robo named Daidinjin, something that would go on to become one of Sentai's most well-known characteristics.
Yeah.
This series was also the first series where the monster of the week would grow into a giant to fight the mecha.
Interesting. It
This
took
series was
3
also the
shows.
first season to feature an actual visor on the helmets, while seasons prior to this one used the same material for the visors as the rest of the helmet.
It took
This
3
was the
shows for
first
a
time
mech
that Sentai
and a
had a
kaiju.
device which gave them the
Or
ability
4,
to
sorry.
tension anywhere, as before this they could only do it at specific locations. After the success of Denjiman, Toei prototyped various ideas for continuing on with the Denjiman story. After much internal discussion, Toei decided to produce a direct sequel to Denjiman in 1981, with the release of Taiyo Sentai Sun Vulcan, featuring the return of Machiko Soga's Queen Hedrian character alongside Hell Saturn, who is a pretty obvious Darth Vader ripoff. This was the final Sentai series to have a Marvel copyright attached to it, but Marvel would not be directly involved with this production.
Okay, sorry. I had to pause real quick. The villain that was like the revolving Darth Vader. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of also reminded me of, obviously this is before what I'm about to say, but it reminded me of like the Koopas in the first Mario movie. Those I don't know if you guys remember that terrible Mario movie with the ugly ass. I'm gonna find a picture. I'll find a picture, put it up for you. That's what it just kind of made me think of for a second, just because like it looked a little goofy. Also, think if we had Marvel, either Power Rangers or Super Sentai. If it was more of a Marvel, if it was more Marvel stuff, we could probably have it in like Marvel Rivals right now. There would be more crossover with different Marvel heroes. Dog, like, oh my God. Like that should just be a thing. That should literally just be a thing at this point. To be honest with you.
This was the only official Sentai series with only 3 members, and they represented land, air, and sea respectively. This was the first season to have a combining robo, and this was the only Sentai season with no female rangers. The great Stan Lee was a self-identified Sun Vulcan fan, and he wanted to adapt it into an American show, but the source material was considered too childish and silly by his peers, which made it very difficult to get off the ground, unfortunately.
Man. But it's not for y'all, you know? For people that like this.
1982 featured a new Sentai representing various ancient civilizations, Dai Sentai Goggle 5, translated as Great Sentai Goggle 5. In Goggle 5, our heroes take on the dark science empire Death Dark, an evil organization responsible for the downfall and destruction of many civilizations throughout history. This show was originally meant to be called Go-Go 5, but that name would be used 17 years later. Goggle 5 was the last season where the Rangers would sport cloth suits featuring scarves, reminiscent of Kamen Rider.
Everyone saw a scarf.
1983 brought us a Sentai season inspired by the game of baseball, Kagaku Sentai Dynaman, or Science Squad Dynaman.
Science Squad.
This series was originally conceptualized as a baseball-themed Sentai that would have been named Baseball Sentai V-Leaguer, but clearly it was changed to Dynaman, with more of a science theme. This series also has another unique distinction. Due to the excessive amounts of gunpowder and the prevalence of explosions in the series, fans in Japan would give Dynaman the nickname Kyaku Sentai because Kyaku means gunpowder in Japanese.
So this is the start of all the
This is the
explosions.
first Sentai season featuring spandex suits for the team, something that would become synonymous with Sentai and appear in all but 3 of the following seasons. In 1984, Japan was introduced to Chodinshi Bioman, translated as Super Electron Bioman.
Is this some Tron in
Hundreds
this?
of years prior to the show, 5 people were showered with bioparticles, granting them power that would be passed down from generation to generation.
Oh, okay.
The power would be lost until the android Pivo brings together 5 descendants to fight against Dr. Man and become Bioman. This season took a lot of risks in regards to tone and format, skewing to a slightly older audience. This was the first Sentai with 2 female Rangers, and also the first season with a female Yellow Ranger. And this was the only season of Sentai released prior to Zyuranger that would be featured in Power Rangers, as Bioman would be used in a very, very early pilot episode.
That's cool.
1985 featured a team of military personnel themed around mythological creatures, Dengeki Sentai Changeman. In this series, a team from the Earth Defense Force takes on the Great Star League Guzma in an effort to defend the Earth.
Oh my god.
After the success of Bioman, Toei tried to recapture the magic, although with a focus toward appealing to both older and younger audiences. Various tropes that had been abandoned by Bioman would return with Changeman, such as the Monster of the Week format.
Monster of the
The
Week.
original title of the
Interesting.
series was going to be Uchi Sentai Cosmo Man and would have been themed around space. This was the first season with a female White Ranger.
They still gave her pink.
1986 was the year of Choshinsei Flashman, or Supernova Flashman. This series featured a team of Rangers who were kidnapped by the reconstructive Experiment Empire mess before being rescued and trained on different planets by an alien race called Flash.
What the hell? That is wild. They're trained on different
After
planets.
returning to Earth years later, they would form Flashman and fight against Mess. But due to what is known as the anti-Flash phenomenon, they would only be able to remain on Earth for 1 year before they would start to take damage.
Really? That's so strange. What an interesting
Flashman is
concept.
notable for being the first season to ever add a second giant robo in Great Titan.
Look at how goofy that thing looked.
1987 saw the release of one of the most popular international releases in Super Sentai history with Hikari Sentai Maskman,
Maskman.
also known as Light Squad Maskman.
I really like the vices though. Very
This
clean.
series was originally conceptualized as somewhat of a callback to previous series, with the original suit designs featuring helmet molds that were reminiscent of Battle Fever J. In fact, the look of X1 Mask would keep this aesthetic. Eventually, during pre-production, the project would go in a new direction with a completely fresh theme, key power and auras. Our team would utilize internal aura power and channel this energy into a fight against Underground Empire 2. As I mentioned, this series featured X1 Mask, who only appeared in 1 episode, but is widely considered a precursor of the official 6th Rangers that would come later. This is also the first season where each member of the team had their own individual mecha, something that would go on to be a signature element of the Sentai formula.
Always one of my favorite parts. Everybody had their own thing.
In 1998, Toei released the final Super Sentai show of the Showa era, Shouju Sentai Live Man, translated as Super Beast Squad Live Man. This was an animal-themed Sentai and was considered an anniversary season due to Gold Ranger and Battle Fever J not originally being recognized as Sentais. Our heroes were gifted students from Academia Island who fight against the armed brain army Volt as Live Man. Assisted by the android Colon, Live Man would add 2 more Rangers to their original 3-man team, being the first season to do so. This season was also the first season to feature a female Blue Ranger, and it was the first season with a Black and Green Ranger on the same team.
Black and green. White, black, green. Always the dopest Rangers. Well, okay, maybe gold too. You know, gold and silver are cool too.
brought us a vehicle-themed Sentai in Kosuku Sentai Turbo Ranger, or High Speed Sentai Turbo Ranger, kicking off the Heisei era. This season would start with a continuation of Sentai's 10-year anniversary celebration, where in the very first episode we would see previous teams alongside Turbo Ranger. It's worth noting that this was not the 10th Sentai, but at this time, Go Ranger and Jaka were still not officially recognized as Sentai seasons yet. In Turbo Ranger, a team of high schoolers are brought together by Dr. Dazai and a fairy named Silon to become Turbo Ranger and fight against the 100 Boma tribes. This season sadly had 0 roll calls.
0? Interesting.
In 1990, Super Sentai introduced a team of siblings who work as teachers when they aren't fighting the Zone Empire.
All of them are
were
teachers?
the first sibling team in the history of Sentai, and in pre-production, this show had the working titles of Vector Man and the hilariously bad Brother Man.
Brother Man. Yo, they have to be all black at this. Hey, Brother Man. They gotta all be black.
1991
That's
saw
hilarious.
the introduction of a dynamic and exciting bird-themed Sentai called Chojin Sentai Jetman.
Brother Man, I can't get over that.
After gaining powers via birdonic waves, Jetman would take on the dimensional war party Vyram, and this series was famously inspired by Kagaku Ninja Tai Gatchaman, the classic anime that inspired Sentai, featuring a squad of bird-themed heroes.
I forgot about that one too. I forgot about that show.
After Five-Man failed to achieve the success that Toei had hoped, Jetman was planned to be the final Sentai in the series. But due to Jetman's success, the Sentai franchise would obviously continue. Jetman would make a few changes from the previous seasons, and those changes, along with the unique bird theme, resonated strongly with fans. When the season began, the team was incomplete until recruiting 2 additional members, and this was a first for the series. Additionally, before Jetman, heroes were referred to mostly by their color on the team, but this show featured the heroes being referred to mostly by their names, something quite unusual at the time. Jetman also borrowed from romantic dramas that were very popular in Japan at the time, even featuring a love triangle that turned out to be one of the most interesting aspects of the story.
Huh.
The series featured Tetra Boy, the first ever third Robo in Sentai. This was also the last time that a core team member dies, where after this, they were all 6th or extra Rangers. This series turned out to be extremely popular and just might have saved the Super Sentai franchise.
Wow. That was like Final Fantasy almost. Okay.
1992 was the year of Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, themed around prehistoric dinosaurs and other large creatures. This series focuses on a team of ancient warriors from 170 million years ago who henshin into Zyuranger and take on the witch Bandora, played, of course, by the masterful Machiko Soga.
There it is.
The series is notable
what's her name
featuring
in
the very
Power
first
Rangers?
official 6th Ranger and Dragon Ranger, a man named Burai who is the brother of Geki or Tyreno Ranger, leading to an explosive and impactful story between them filled with heart-stopping action and a premise that's easy to invest into.
Was she the same villain in Power Rangers too? I guess we're gonna find out
This was the
eventually.
first season themed around dinosaurs or prehistoric creatures. This was also the first season to focus on fantasy instead of science fiction, and this was the first season to be given an American adaptation.
Yep.
As Power Rangers, you will have access to a universe of power and will command a fleet of fighting machines called Zords.
I don't get it.
1993 saw the culmination of Toei and
93,
Saban's
baby.
continuous effort to bring Super Sentai to television in the West with Saban's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Power Rangers would utilize various types of footage from Zyuranger, including henshin footage, mecha footage, and footage from the villains. However, new scenes with American actors would be added. This show would focus on a team of teenagers with attitude who were summoned by Zordon and Alpha 5 to defend the city of Angel Grove from Rita Repulsa and morph into the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Repulsa, that's it. Dude, I love
Power
the music's
Rangers
always
became an
fire.
absolute cultural phenomenon in the West and will continue to spawn semi-annual releases well into the future.
They made a mistake by not doing it earlier, let's be real.
Back in Japan, 1993 was looking great with an epic new season of Super Sentai in the form of Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger. This season utilized some unique themes such as Chinese mythology and kung fu with some of the most hard-hitting and visually dynamic action that the series had ever seen before. This show features a team of heroes assembled by Master Kaku because of their high levels of ki, so that they can battle an ancient threat known as the Gorma tribe.
Whoa.
This show's mecha and villain footage, as well as Kiba Ranger, were used for Season 2 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yes!
Kiba Ranger was a young boy named Ko, and he appeared to grow into an adult when henshining. Dai Ranger added a more aggressive edge to the series, and fans loved it.
I gotta look up Repulsa now.
After Dai Ranger focused on Chinese themes and story elements, Toei would pivot to Japanese themes with the Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger.
Yes, the ninja.
Kaku Ranger featured a unique and charismatic team of ninjas as they would fight against the yokai. Although this show focuses on Japanese themes, it is partially inspired by the famous Chinese book Journey to the West, a story about a varied mix of personalities joining together to go on a journey.
Yep, it's the same person.
Footage
Had
from
to check
this
real
show
quick.
was used for Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers, and the working title for this show was Ninja Sentai Go Ninja.
Who does like ninjas, bro? Who just doesn't like ninjas?
1995 brought us Choriki Sentai O Ranger, a season themed around ancient civilizations. In this season, the O
I didn't know it was
Rangers would
ancient
take on the
civilizations.
Machine Empire Baranoia.
Okay. I did not know it was based on that.
This show was the 20th anniversary of Go Ranger, and consequently Toei wanted to have a darker tone that would appeal to older audiences. However, some saddening real-life circumstances occurred, such as a chemical attack in a subway and an earthquake in Kobe that both unfortunately ended the lives of many people. This resulted in a tone shift during the season in response to these events.
Jesus.
In the West, this show was adapted into Power Rangers Zeo. O-Ranger struggled in terms of television ratings, but actually broke records in regards to toy sales.
I wonder why.
Also in 1995, Super Sentai began what would become a tradition with the very first installment of the Versus series of movies, in O-Ranger Ole vs. Kaku Ranger. This was a non-canon Sentai project in which both teams would team up together to fight a strange new yokai. This film would lay the groundwork for how Sentai team-up projects would work in the future.
I think it's interesting that it says versus, but they're working together.
1996 saw the release of one of the funniest seasons in the history of Sentai, the vehicle-themed Gekiso Sentai Car Ranger. Being a parody of Turbo Ranger, Car Ranger leaned heavily into comedy and featured some unique elements that would differentiate this season from others, one of which was a wannabe 6th Ranger named White Racer. Car Ranger was adapted into Power Rangers Turbo, which even got its own movie in the West. Car Ranger
Did not know
featured
that.
a lot of slapstick-type humor and took quite a few chances with the story, delivering a charming and lighthearted season at a time when Japan needed it.
Okay. I respect that. I respect that.
With the release of 1997's Dingy Sentai Mega Ranger, the fandom would be treated to a cool new show themed around virtual reality, video games, and space. Paying homage to Bioman and featuring a team of high school students as they take on Nezarigia, Mega Ranger would feature many high-tech gadgets and advanced technology that had never been seen before. This series also featured holograms on the helmets of each Ranger to denote their ability, and featured the first Silver Ranger in the franchise, as well as the incredibly cool and evil Neji Ranger.
Ooh.
This show was adapted
They're
into
pretty dope.
Power Rangers in Space, the final season of the Zordon era of Power Rangers. Mega Ranger was another dynamic and exciting season of the franchise, and the future of Super Sentai
Interesting.
looked brighter than ever.
I only watched OG Power Rangers like that season. I didn't watch any other Zordon stuff. I ain't gonna lie.
1998's Super Sentai release was Seiju Sentai Gingaman, or Star Beast Squad Gingaman, featuring a team of warriors who take on the space pirates Balban. Gingaman uses quite a few motifs and themes, many of which are callbacks to the earlier Sentai seasons, such as legendary warriors, knights, and pirates.
It's impressive how hard they're going.
This was the final Sentai series to air alongside a
very
Metal Hero
impressive
show, and the final season to feature the word man in the title. This was also the last Sentai series to use illustrated eye catches before and after commercials. Gingaman was adapted into Power Rangers Lost Galaxy, and Gingaman was the first Sentai season in which the episodes weren't referred to as episodes, but instead chapters.
interesting.
1999 brought us a Sentai themed around emergency services.
There you go.
QQ Sentai Go-Go 5.
Wait, I was waiting for the
This
name
show
to pop
featured
up.
a team of
Pop
5
back up.
siblings as they battle against the Saima clan. Being themed around emergency services and rescues, this show featured heart-stopping action and a true sense of danger for our heroes. It was very clear from the first episode that this would be an action and drama-heavy season, but Toei would be sure to add just enough charm to keep things optimistic.
I wonder what the darkest Sentai is.
This show was adapted into Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, and Go-Go 5 was the last Sentai series to only feature 5 Rangers, with none being added later. With 2000 being the last year of the millennium, the world was obsessed with time, and Japan was no different, leading
makes
to the
sense.
release of Mirai Sentai Time Ranger. Asking fans to grasp the infinite future, this show had a time travel theme, and as such, it featured a team of time-traveling soldiers, with 4 of them being from the year 3000, as
That
they
makes
take
sense.
on Don Donero and the Launders. Time Ranger went in bold new directions with the story, unafraid to explore a darker tone, and this season would go down in history as one of the most mature Sentai seasons of all time. This Sentai was adapted into Power Rangers Time Force in the West, and Time Ranger was the first Sentai season to feature the now iconic Super Sentai series logo at the beginning of every episode.
Hey, there it
This was
is.
also the first Sentai season to have a red 6th Ranger, as well as the first season to air alongside a Kamen Rider show, which was Kuga.
Oh, that's cool. I know people were eating at that time. Yeah, both. Yeah, Kuga
In
and Time Ranger?
2001,
Okay.
Toei released Hayakuju Sentai Gao Ranger, an animal-themed Sentai. This series followed a group of warriors as they fight against Org. Being an animal-themed
White tiger.
Sentai, Gao Ranger had a wild tone and style that really worked well. This show would also feature some unique elements that hadn't been seen before. Gao Ranger was the first Sentai to feature auxiliary mecha that can interact and combine with the other mecha featured on the show. This was the first Sentai where the entire team used cell phones to henshin, and this was the first Sentai to have longer, extended roll calls for each Ranger. Gao Ranger was adapted into Power Rangers Wild Force, and this was the first Sentai season to be released on DVD.
That's cool.
2002 saw the release of another ninja-themed Sentai, in Ninpu Sentai Hurricaneer. This series had a focus on elemental ninjutsu powers and followed the students of a ninja academy as they fight against the group that killed many of their fellow ninja students,
The first
the
Indigo
evil
Ranger?
space ninja group Jakanja. This series took what worked with Kaku Ranger, but dialed up the action and charm to deliver an incredibly well-balanced and memorable season, complete with
yeah.
a stellar cast and several unique new characters that would further differentiate it from other seasons. We would start with 3 Rangers, before adding the insect-themed duo, the Go Rangers, and the incredibly cool and entertaining Shurikinger.
I am Ninja of the Ninja, Tenku Ninja, Shugenja.
Shuriken. Okay.
Eventually adapted into Power Rangers Ninja Storm, this is the first
Ninja
season
Storm,
to feature
that's
2
it.
red and 2 blue Rangers on the same team. And this show was originally planned to be called Dainin Sentai Ninja Man or Great Ninja Squad Ninja Man.
Okay, so it's not exactly. It's considered red. Okay, considered red and blue. All right. Okay.
Toei would release another Dino-themed season in 2003 with Bakuryu Sentai Aba Ranger, following a team of heroes brought together by their dino guts to fight against the Evolians.
Dino guts?
The premise of this show was very unique, having to do with a parallel Dino Earth that was created when a meteor struck Earth millions of years ago. Aba Ranger would also introduce the world to one of the coolest, most intimidating villains in the history of Sentai that would eventually become an ally and an Aba Ranger himself, Abare Kira.
I mean, he does look cool though.
Footage of this show would be used for Power Rangers
Dino
Dino
Thunder?
Thunder, and this was the first season where the only female ranger on the team is a Yellow Ranger. 2004 would see the release of Tokuso Sentai Deca Ranger, featuring a new mystery theme, along with other police elements. Deca Ranger follows a charismatic group of officers from SPD as they take on space criminals called alienizers.
We don't mess with the
Deca
police
is
over here.
slang for detective, hence the name.
Oh, okay, slave for detective. Did not know that.
Ranger
Did not know that.
utilized several unique mechanics to help the team solve crimes, including Jasmine's ability to use ESP via touch, as well as Sin standing on his head in order to figure things out.
Okay, that's kind of funny.
All of the Rangers featured on the show are overflowing with personality, and the likability and charm of the show would keep it popular for years to come.
That's kind of funny.
Deca Ranger
Yeah,
is also notable for featuring several auxiliary Rangers who make limited appearances while henshined. Doggy Kruger, also known as Deca Master, is a dog who serves as the mentor for Deca Ranger. Swan becomes Deca Swan, and we even see Deca Bright, who is Deca Break's superior officer. This series featured the most protagonist Rangers ever at the time.
That's cool. It's just funny, like,
Deca Ranger would be adapted into Power Rangers SPD.
I'm really
and Deca
smart.
Ranger featured two separate outros, both of which are of extremely high quality and very catchy. This season is
Also
unique
cool.
in the fact that there isn't really an evil organization, but rather they tend to fight alienizers who are operating in their own interest.
Oh,
Deca
okay.
Ranger is also the only Sentai where every main ranger goes by a nickname.
Oh, oh. It's like I'm really smart, but I'm only smart when I do a handstand.
In 2005,
Magi?
Toei would head in yet another bold new direction with the wizard-inspired Mahou Sentai Magi Ranger. This show would follow the Ozu family as they utilized their magical abilities to fight against Infertia. This season capitalized on Harry Potter mania by utilizing various themes that you would expect from a magical Sentai, such as magic wands, known as Magi-Sticks, cloaks, and the ability to cast wacky and entertaining spells to turn the tide of battle. Magi Ranger was a fun and whimsical take on the Super Sentai formula.
As it should be.
Magi Ranger would be adapted into Power Rangers Mystic Force, and Magi Ranger
That-
is unique
okay.
in having the 6th Ranger known as Magi Shine
That makes
marry a
sense.
core member of the team in Urara, or Magi Blue. This was the final season to be shot in standard 4:3 aspect ratio, and this was also the final season to be released on VHS.
Ah, here we go.
2006 saw the Super Sentai
Getting more into
franchise
HD,
enter
sort
a
of.
new era with Go-Go Sentai Bokinger, the first season to be filmed in 720p HD. The show was an anniversary season and featured a team of adventurers as they hunted for treasure and battled against the negative syndicates.
Negative syndicates? That sounds
With the word
like
Boken meaning
evil.
adventure, it was clear that Toei wanted to invoke the same sense of exploration and excitement present in Western projects like Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. Our heroes would search for powerful artifacts called Precious, and the search for these items would often lead our Rangers to exotic new locations that gave this show a ton of excitement.
That's cool. I like that. I like that. They're not archaeologists,
Bokinger
but
would
they
be
just
adapted into Power Rangers Operation
to do
Overdrive in
stuff.
the West.
That's
In
awesome.
addition to the new HD resolution, Bokinger was also notable for having the first 9-piece mecha fusion and a 10-piece mecha fusion.
gotta get those mechs, bro. Gotta get those mechs.
燃え立つ劇は正義の証純連戦隊激レンジャー
2007 was the year of Juken Sentai Geki Ranger, an incredibly unique kung fu and animal themed season focusing on
three?
key and various aspects of Chinese mythology. In this series, our heroes would utilize their powers to battle against the evil schools of martial arts.
Hey, yo, look at them.
アンプレイカブルボディ
How they just smacking and clapping everybody up.
テクレット
My God.
Geki Ranger had a new tone that was completely unlike anything that preceded it, and even featured a cool new wolf-themed Violet Ranger. This show was adapted into Power Rangers Jungle Fury in the US and was released as a dubbed version in South Korea as Power Rangers Wild Spirits. This was the first Sentai to not feature belts on the Rangers' suits, and also the last season to only have 5 total Rangers.
Okay, sorry, they just kept showing 3. Yeah, 5
2008 was a
Dope.
high-octane thrill ride with Engine Sentai Go-Onger, another car-themed Sentai with an eccentric cast, explosive action, and tons of hilarious comedy. This series followed a group of heroes chosen by mechanical beings called engines to become Go-Onger and fight against the Gaiark.
The symbols on her chest kind of remind me of the shirts that people wear in Legends of the Hidden
also
Temple.
featured an animal motif and incorporated themes like pollution and conservationism. Every element of the show is enhanced by a charismatic cast and a story that's consistently fun and entertaining. Go-Onger would be adapted into Power Rangers RPM, and this is the first Sentai season to feature 2 6th Rangers in Go on Wings, consequently making it the first season with a female 6th Ranger as well.
Hey, that's what's up. Got the gold and the silver.
2009 would see the release of a Super Sentai season with a brand new samurai theme in Samurai Sentai Shinkenger. This show follows samurai clan leader Takeru Shiba and his loyal retainers as they henshin into Shinkenger and fight against the Godoshu.
I always really like these
Shinkenger
masks.
sliced a special place for itself within the franchise due to it being so different from many of the other seasons. This show would creatively add the lighthearted Sentai formula to a classic Japanese drama, and somehow it worked perfectly.
The writers
Shinkenger's
really good.
entertaining formula proved to be extremely successful with fans, with the show's likable cast, well-choreographed action, and traditional Japanese style, making this one of the most popular seasons in history.
That's what's
Shinkenger
up.
would also be featured in an exciting and memorable crossover with Kamen Rider Decade,
There he
a
is.
first for both franchises. Shinkenger was adapted into Power Rangers Samurai in the West, and this show famously featured a temporary female Red Ranger in Princess Kaoru. As time has gone on, Shinkenger has cemented itself as a truly legendary entry into the franchise.
That's respectable.
In 2010, Toei would try to follow up on Shinkenger's success with a brand new angelic Sentai, Intenso Sentai Goseiger.
It's supposed to be
This show follows a
angelic.
group of Gosei angels as they fight against the
Ah,
evil
okay.
spirits, and
I did-
incorporates a playing card theme into the formula.
I had to put 2 and 2 together before.
Although Goseiger never reached the same heights as Shinkenger, this show would still deliver a lot of things that made Sentai popular, including a charming cast, a lot of exciting action, and a
Hell
sense
yeah.
of wonder. Goseiger was adapted into Power Rangers Megaforce in the West.
Ah, that's
Goseiger is also
Megaforce,
unique
okay.
in the fact that the Red Ranger, Alata, is not officially recognized as the leader. In fact, there isn't an official leader of this team. This was also the first season where all of the Rangers on the team used cards to henshin, as opposed to just one of the Rangers, as was the case with Magi Shine of Magi Ranger. Although Goseiger isn't remembered as well as Shinkenger or some other seasons in the franchise, there was
That's
a
really
lot of
cool.
quality in this series, and it did a good job continuing the legacy of Super Sentai.
Well, everybody's just kind of equal. I like that. I like that. I mess with that.
In 2011, the world wasn't ready for the phenomenon known as Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, a pirate-themed anniversary season and one of the most popular Sentai seasons of all time.
Everybody likes pirates,
This season
bro.
follows a group of charismatic space pirates as they take on the evil space empire Zongyak. This season celebrates the rich history of Sentai and incorporates many elements, characters, and suit designs from previous seasons. In fact, the Gokaigers themselves had the ability to henshin into all of the previous Rangers from the series by utilizing various Ranger keys. Gokaiger was led by Captain Marvelous, an eccentric anti-hero with no fear and tons of style and flair. This team is extremely endearing, despite them not always acting like heroes. These Rangers take what they want by force, but defend what they believe in fiercely, and always make a show of things. This season was so popular that Gokaiger would appear in more crossover and team-up projects than any other season in history, and it would be adapted into Power Rangers Super Megaforce in the West. This was also the first Sentai season to be released on Blu-ray.
Wow. I wonder how long the season. He didn't say how long the season was. Kind of surprised. How long the show was.
Also saw the release of the biggest Sentai film of all time in 199 Hero Great Battle, an explosive and highly entertaining celebration of Super Sentai. This film features 199 heroes from the history of Super Sentai, and it feels like a climax to the entire franchise.
Yo!
This movie, of course, features a ton of Rangers in costume, but we also see a few unhinged that we haven't seen in a long time. It's excellent fan service, and longtime fans of the franchise will definitely enjoy it. It's something that set this huge movie apart from all the other ones. At this point, it's considered an absolute classic.
That's what's up.
Toei would continue to ride the wave of Gokaiger's success in 2012 with another huge crossover movie in Gokaiger vs. Gavin. This movie was the company's attempt at introducing Space Sheriff Gavin from the retired Metal Hero series to a new generation, and by teaming up with Gokaiger, they would do just that.
Interesting. So the Metal Heroes didn't make
Gavin
it.
Attempting to capture the Gokaigers, but eventually he himself becomes captured by a group of villains, and the Gokaigers have to rescue him. This movie heavily leans into the popularity of Gokaiger, and there is a staggering amount of fan service here.
So did they revive the Metal Heroes because of
Legendary
this?
Toku actor Kinji Oba reprised his role as Gavin, and we even have appearances from his other famous roles as Battle Kenya and Denji Blue. And if that wasn't enough, we were even treated to an appearance from the next Sentai series.
That's pretty cool. They teased the next episode. Smart.
2012's official
move.
Sentai series was Tokume Sentai Go Busters, a slick new Sentai themed around technology and spies. This series introduced a lot of new concepts, like the Rangers having machine partners and the numerous references to the Western Power Rangers franchise, due to this being the 20th anniversary of Zyuranger, the show that was adapted into the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. In this
so
series,
dope.
our heroes would battle against Vaglas. The style of this show was fresh and exciting, and continued the streak of excellent seasons in recent years. Go Busters was originally skipped over for a Power Rangers adaptation, but after Hasbro bought the Power Rangers brand, Go Busters would be adapted into Power Rangers Beast Morphers and debut in 2019. This was the first season where the suits are made of leather, and the first season where the team's name is plural. And Go Busters even featured Hiroya Matsumoto as Masato Jin, or Beatbuster, returning to the franchise years after playing Tsubasa Ozu or Magi Yellow in Magi Ranger.
It's surprising like they finally made it to fiction in 2019. Cause wait, I forgot. What year was that? That was 2010. Oh man.
Also released in 2012 was a huge new film project to commemorate the 10th anniversary of TV Asahi's Superhero Time, Superhero Taisen, which would focus mostly on Gokaiger, the Go Busters, Kamen Rider Decade, Folze, and Oz. This movie focuses on Captain Marvelous as he seeks to gain the ultimate power in the universe while commanding the Daizangyak fleet. At the same time, Kamen Rider Decade leads Dai Shocker on a campaign to destroy all Sentais. This movie featured a ton of fan service for fans of both Super Sentai and Kamen Rider, and Marvelous vs. Decade would be an absolute treat for fans.
Why would they want to take out all the Sentai though?
In 2012, we also got a hilarious new Sentai spin-off in Hikonin Sentai Akiba Ranger.
I don't remember ever seeing this before.
Being aimed at older fans of the series, Akiba Ranger was crude, creative, and unapologetically unique. This show would feature many elements and characters from the series, albeit with a very different tone than what fans were used to. This show is
That's
very
funny.
meta in the way that it
That's
focuses on the
funny.
team's delusions, and it makes it so you oftentimes don't know what's real and what's a delusion. This is the first Sentai
Okay,
where
that's
both
pretty
the
cool.
Yellow and Blue Rangers are female. It is the shortest Sentai, and it's the first one meant for mature audiences. This show also got a second season, a first for the franchise.
It's okay. They were getting blown up by the gun pop. That's pretty funny. I can't lie about that.
2013 marked the franchise's third Dino theme season, with Juden Sentai Kyoryuger, the first season to be broadcast in 1080p full HD.
Yo, look at that
Kyoryuger
match.
wowed fans with its energetic presentation and large cast of likable characters. And speaking of the large cast, there are 11 protagonist rangers in this series, the most
11?
ever at the time.
Good lord.
The title of the show is actually a reference to Zyuranger because they basically have the same name but reversed. Juden Sentai Kyoryuger versus Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger. This show would be adapted into Power Rangers Dino Charge and Supercharge. Although this series had disappointing viewership numbers, its toy sales were exceptional, and Super Sentai was alive
Interesting.
and healthy in 2013.
Interesting that the toy sales are going crazy, even though they're not being, it's not watched as much as previous.
Also in 2013, we got
seasons.
the first ever 10 years after movie of the franchise, Hurricaneger 10 years after. This takes place 10 years after the show and would catch us up with what the Rangers were up to in 2013.
Dope.
This was fun to see where they are now, including Ikko's new band and Kota being a father now. This was an excellent celebration for fans of Hurricaneger.
Dope. The trains.
2014 brought us Resha Sentai Tokyuger, an imaginative and heartfelt Sentai season themed around trains. Tokyuger offered fans a lighthearted and fun experience, complete with a charming cast that fans would largely respond well to. Despite this, the TV ratings were once again below Toei's expectations,
Really?
and this series would be skipped over entirely by Power Rangers in the West.
Interesting.
This season featured the Rangers' ability to swap colors with each other and featured the first Orange Ranger since Battle Fever J.
They can swap colors with each other? That's cool. I didn't know that.
In
Yes,
2015, Toei introduced what would prove to be one of the
ninjas.
least popular seasons in the history of Sentai, with
Really?
Shuriken Sentai Ninja, another ninja-themed season. This show is
That's
adapted
surprising.
into Power Rangers Ninja Steel / Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel in the West, and Ninja featured a lot of comedy and lighthearted antics with a focus on ninjas not hiding. But the cast and story unfortunately never connected with fans in the same way as other seasons.
I mean, not everything could be, you know,
After
best.
this, we were treated to Deca Ranger 10 years after, in which 10 years after the show, after the Rangers have gone their separate paths, the Rangers have to investigate a corrupt head of SPD, as well as the evil Neo Deca Red and Neo Deca Yellow. This was a story that showcased the detective skills of the Rangers and put them in a scenario that's slightly different from the ones we had seen previously.
ジャスミンはエスパーである。
It's
その手を
correct.
通して
So they had to do
人の心が
Sherlock
読み
Holmes.
取れるのだ。
Got a whole
Deca
Sherlock
Ranger was
Holmes.
one of the most successful Super
Se-
Sentai seasons
movie.
of all time, and the quality that made it successful would continue with this film.
Such a dope headshot.
2016 saw the release of an animal-themed Sentai with a bit of Minecraft thrown in for good measure. This was
Minecraft?
Dogetsu Sentai Zyuoger, a 40th anniversary season.
Oh wow, that is Minecraft. I
This series
never
followed
realized
a
that
group of
before.
Humans and Zhumins, who are animal-like creatures, as they take on the space outlaws Death Galleon.
Wow, I just
This
okay.
season, although somewhat divisive, still saw an uptick in viewership, and the Zhumins, cubic theming, and the suit designs made this one of the most unique seasons of all time.
Dude, look at that white. That is so clean.
In 2017, Sentai fans would go on an epic space journey with the biggest and one of the most unique teams in history,
Dog,
Uchu
it's so
Sentai
clean.
Q Ranger. Q Ranger featured the largest team size in history as they take on the space shogunate Jark Matter. This was one of the most unique seasons of Sentai ever, and it would have a larger international reach than other recent seasons, as Q Ranger would air in Indonesia for the first time since Ginga Man.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
Elements of this season would be adapted into Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. This show is notable for the actress Mao, who previously played Luca Milfi / Gokai Yellow in Gokaiger, returning to the franchise to do the voice of Washi Pink. Q Ranger was set in a universe dominated by the villain faction. It features themes and equipment based on the constellations, and with 12 Rangers featured in the show, this was an incredibly unique and memorable season.
That's pretty dope. Oh, we got the cops! SPD! What's your emergency? Oh, this is a versus.
2018 brought us the first Sentai season to feature 2 opposing teams in the Cops and Robbers theme
Lupin!
Tomato Sentai Lupin Ranger versus Keisatsu Sentai Pat Ranger. This season featured a team of thieves in Lupin Ranger and a team of cops
he said
in Pat
Lupin.
Ranger as they take on each other.
Lupin!
The concept of featuring 2 teams of Rangers was incredibly unique on its own, but this show even had a 6th Ranger referred to as X, who was part of both teams, a first for the franchise.
He's part
Pat
of
Ranger
both
was the
teams?
first Sentai team without a Blue Ranger. This was the first season without an outro song, and this was the last season
What?
to date that featured the word Ranger in its title.
I understand how he's part of both teams. Like, he just secretly just gives him tidbits on both sides.
Kicking off 2019 was a huge 4-part miniseries featuring Rangers from throughout the franchise's history in the 4-week continuous special Super Sentai Strongest Battle. This series featured a tournament in which Rangers from Sentai history would battle against each other to have a wish granted. Rangers from different teams would be mixed together to create cool new Ranger combos, and this miniseries was heavily focused on delivering fan service to the audience.
Tournament of Power.
This small project was a great intermission between Lupin
dope.
Ranger vs. Pat Ranger and the next main Sentai series that would follow. Later in 2019, we would see the release of another Dino-themed Sentai and the final season to debut in the Heisei era with Kishiryu Sentai Yu Soldier. The series returned to the Dino theme, but this time with
that was
a much more
my
realistic
picture.
look. This show featured the Yu soldiers fighting against Druidon. This season of Sentai would be adapted into Power Rangers.
I'm gonna have a hard time
Fury.
finding a thumbnail
Yu
for this.
Soldier also featured familiar elements mixed with some fresh new ideas, and this was the first Sentai to feature a Brown Ranger.
Brown is clean. It's clean color.
2020 brought us the first Sentai season of the Reiwa era in Machine Sentai Kiramager, a magic, vehicle, and gemstone themed season that would endear itself to the Sentai community. In this series, our heroes battle against Emperor Yodon and the Dark Emperor Yodonheim. This season delivered tons of charm and lighthearted humor, along with emotional moments that added weight to the story. Unfortunately, due to the 2020 pandemic, the tail end of production for this show was chaotic behind the scenes, and production would wrap early at only 45 episodes.
Damn, that really sucks. Dude, pandemic really messed up a lot of stuff.
Next, we were treated to the 10th anniversary of Gokaiger with 10 Gokaiger. Taking place 10 years after the events of the series, we would see the reunion of the most popular Sentai team of all time. This movie featured Captain Marvelous squaring off against tons of classic Rangers, with the stipulation that if he loses, he's gonna lose his key, but if he wins all of the other Ranger keys.
What? So, does it mean Gokaiger is the strongest out of all of them?
Popularity, 10 Gokaiger was extremely successful and would help to solidify the tradition of having anniversary movies going forward.
Is that Taupe?
In 2021, Toei brought us Kikai
Not Taupe,
Sentai
I'm sorry.
Zenkaiger, an anniversary season
Wrong one I
loaded
was
with
thinking of.
uniqueness and fan service. This series features a team full of Kikanoids along with a human who becomes Zenkaiser, as they look like a mashup of previous Sentai characters and take on
That's what.
Tingle.
Okay, good. That's kind of thing because he looks like like what's the name from Jack Q.
As an anniversary season, this show is loaded with fan service, and there's tons of references to previous seasons. The Kikinoids are meant to look like various mecha from the series, and Zen Kaiser is himself a mashup of previous Rangers.
Gotcha. Okay. That's what it looked like to me. Okay.
Apparently, this series was originally going to be called Sentai Sentai Sentaiger, but I guess Toei just couldn't pull the trigger on such a hilariously weird title.
That is
Senkaiger
weird.
isn't remembered as favorably as other seasons within the community, but it did do a good job of paying tribute to the series as a whole.
Sentai Sentai Sentaiger. Sentai Sentai Sentai. Yeah, he looks like he looks also old school.
Additionally, we got the crossover between Kamen Rider Saber and Zenkaiger, known as Saber and Zenkaiger Superhero Senki, meant to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Kamen Rider and the 45th anniversary of Super Sentai.
Dope. I like a good crossover.
This was a huge, explosive celebration of Toei's brand of tokusatsu, and one of the largest projects that Super Sentai had ever seen before. 2022 brought us Avataro Sentai Don Brothers, one of the most unique Sentais of all time due to it being based off of the legend of Momotaro. Don Brothers captivated fans with its high levels of energy and signature style.
I don't know the legend.
The Rangers here are based on different animals from the legend, and several of which are portrayed exclusively by CGI, a first for the franchise. Interestingly enough, this show was originally marketed as a sequel to Zenkaiger, something that hadn't happened since Sun Vulcan in 1981. For Don Brothers, Toei was focused on mixing up traditional Ranger roles, with the Pink Ranger being male, and the Rangers have visually unique powers due to the freedom that CGI animation provides. Don Brothers was the first show in the franchise with brothers in the title.
I was wondering if they were gonna mix up like the colors with like the what you expect the
2023 was the year of royalty with the regal Osama Sentai King Ogier. This season featured a team of Rangers that are all rulers of their respective kingdoms.
Ah, so that's what. Okay. I just didn't know specifically why.
Ogier was the very first Sentai season to be themed around insects, and their suits are more armored than in previous seasons. They also featured a half cape, reminiscent of a scarf, making them look somewhat similar to a Kamen Rider. This season also featured the most CGI ever by far, with it being used for nearly every background, as well as the mecha and some characters.
You got it! Oh yeah!
This show delivered some cool new ideas to the Sentai franchise, and was received generally pretty well by the fans, especially in Japan.
That's what's up. Hey, back to the samurai.
Next up is Horikenja de Gozaru Shushuto 20th Anniversary, a huge new 20th anniversary project for Horikenja taking place in the Edo period.
So I guess the two most popular, well, obviously Guido Gokaiger is most popular.
The predecessors of the Hurricanegers.
Is Hurricaneger the second most popular?
As they engage in conflict over the protection of Princess Teruhime and the Ascension Stone that she possesses. Eventually, this movie sees Rangers from the Edo period, as well as from the modern day, crossing over with each other, and it makes for a very interesting take on the Hurricaneger formula.
Dope.
After this, we got the Power Ranger 20th Anniversary movie, The Unforgivable Abare. This takes place 20 years after Abaranger, and it places these Rangers into a world that doesn't necessarily view them as heroes, making for a very interesting new take on their story.
Okay, so do not villains, not heroes, just there. Hey,
2024 brought us Bakuage Sentai Boom Boomger, another vehicle-themed Sentai. This show delivers a heavy dose of slapstick humor and wackiness, and also features two of the rarest Ranger colors in Sentai history, with Boon Orange and Boon Violet. Boon Boomger delivers
Violet.
a
God dang, I said indigo
laid-back
earlier. My
tone
bad.
that never
Violet
takes itself too seriously. Though this series has been somewhat divisive within the community, only time will tell what the legacy of Boom Boomger will be.
Yeah, dog, I haven't watched it. I already know it's divisive just from the comments. I've had way more people tell me that it's
2024 also
it's
delivered the fun 20th
better than what
anniversary
people give it,
project
though.
of Deca Ranger with Deca Ranger 20th Fireball Booster. This movie had an exciting new mystery story that fits right into the Deca Ranger universe. We were also treated to an awesome looking new form for Deca Red called Premier Deca Red, and a satisfying twist that would send the audience home happy.
神の泡とも称されるほどきめ細かな超詳細プレミアデカメタルが転送され
Even after
Oh,
20
he's
years,
Iron Man.
Deca Ranger was still hilarious, charming, and one of the most loved Sentais of all time.
みんな行くわよ
More ninjas.
Recently, Kaku Ranger fans were
Middle
treated to the
age.
30th anniversary project of Kaku Ranger, titled Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger Act 3 Middle Age Struggles.
Why they do it like that? Middle age struggles.
This is the first 30th anniversary film of the franchise, and it would see the Rangers reprise their roles from the original series. And to see these classic Rangers reprise their roles was an absolute treat. Kaku Ranger was the
What was
very
that? That might be
first Ninja
thumbnail.
Sentai, and is extremely deserving of the 30th anniversary treatment. So after 50 plus years of Super Sentai, this franchise has established itself as an absolutely legendary and groundbreaking collection of stories and characters. Super Sentai has treated us to some awesome looking costumes, sinister and memorable villains, and tons of hilarious moments that put smiles on our faces. We've been introduced to some amazing characters that we'll always remember, and as new fans discover this amazing franchise every day for the first time, the future of Super Sentai looks bright, and the love that the fandom has for Super Sentai is stronger than ever.
That's awesome.
What are your absolute favorite moments from the history of Super Sentai? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, it'd mean tons to me if you would smack the out of that like button. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah,
I'll catch
smack
you
that
next
like
time.
button, beat that like button, punch that like button, knock that like button up. That was clean. That was clean. This guy, what's his name again? I can't remember his name on top of my head. Acrimony Toku. Or is it Acrimony or Acrimony? Dude, I can't read. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you. But this was clean, buddy. This was clean. You know what? I appreciate this video. I appreciate this video. Some awesome freaking stuff about Super Sentai that I just didn't know. I just didn't know. And like, I know this is only to 2024. I wonder if he's gonna make an update after this year. I don't know. I mean, there's been like ups and downs with Super Sentai. I remember reading about the people they're retiring the name Super Sentai and stuff like that. I'm not super deep. I have people on my Discord give me information and like and news and stuff like that, but I'm just not super duper deep into it to just know a whole bunch, to know. I'm not even going to speculate. Not going to speculate. But I appreciate you coming through. You're freaking amazing. I hope you have a Merry Christmas. Have a great holiday. Hug your family. Hug, you know what I'm saying? Make sure your friends are okay. I hope you're doing okay. Okay. It's tough out here. It's tough out here. But you are appreciated, all right? And I'll see you on the next one, okay? Deuces.